You do not have to have the last word. I repeat, you do not have to have the last word. But this is a point that I will share. It sometimes feels good to have the last word. And if that be you, which has been us in some form of fashion in some area of life, it felt good to have the last word. That is not healthy. That is not healthy. That's associated with pride. And it is not, I repeat, is not healthy. Everything in this context, just keep it in the framework of the conversation, that feels good is not good for your growth and development as an individual. You do not have to have the last word in a discussion, in a conversation, or in an argument. If that does take place, you have something to prove. You must be heard, or what you saying must be truth. It must be factual. It must be universal. It must be the way to do things. We all find ourselves in these conversations with individuals, whether it be husbands, wives, kids, colleagues, employees, relatives, whoever. What I'm saying to you, it's okay. When you don't have the last word, you really have won. But when you do have the last word in a volatile scenario, in a scenario where it's this argument, with debate, we going back and forth. If you have the last word, you have lost. You have lost an opportunity to grow and develop as a person. If you get the last word and you have won, you really have lost, because it feels good to have the last word. I would implore you and give you this wisdom, is that don't stop trying to be the bigger person. Be the smaller one. We don't want to see us in the midst of the conversation. We want to see more of our purpose manifesting in the conversation. And if I'm the bigger person, then in the right context of thought, I did it in my own strength. Pat myself on the back. Next wisdom key is number 4 or 5, whatever his wisdom key is. Listen, y'all, stop arguing with individuals that's intoxicated with liquor and intoxicated with ego. Stop arguing with those individuals, because you're wasting your time, because it's equating to negative patterns of behavior, solidifying mindsets, and it's not productive for your relationships to be healthy. We may want to debate facts if we're talking about sports, statistics, things outside of us talking interpersonal about conflict or interpersonal skills or our relationships with one another. I've experienced and seen people debate statistically, when it comes down to sports or facts, doing research. But personally, I don't necessarily debate in the natural realm, because when I say natural realm, I mean naturally, because naturally is very much comprised with a person's perception. If it's not quantitatively measured, meaning numbers, numerically, if it's qualitative, then as many times it's subjective, and subjective meaning it comes from the person and their perspective, which is always biased. And now we have a whole debate. Who cares? When we get into conflict, the reason for conflict, or our goal for conflict, is not for people to be right or wrong. It's not for people to be the bigger person or the smaller person. It's for our understanding of each other's viewpoint. And when we understand each other's viewpoint, I can receive your point of view and see how you see it, and that's going to equate to growth. But if I'm defending my point of view because you have a different point of view, then that is an issue of insecurity. It's an issue of insecurity because I'm really in comparison. And in reality, you're supposed to be a gift to me and not a competitor. You don't have to have the last word. If you don't get the last word, it's okay. Because if you don't, you have won in terms of your growth and development as an individual. Allow that person to have that. Some people need that for various reasons.